A couple of weeks ago, I posted the Sonic Adventure 2 Iceberg, and that video got tons of traction. It passed my previous video in 2 days, and my other one in just 4. So this is basically a follow-up or a sequel to the first video that covers up pretty much everything I missed. That being said though, if you haven't watched the first video, then why are you here? Go watch the first video, you dumb idiot. But seriously, massive props to Water Kirby 1994 for putting out a bunch of stuff that I'll be using for this iceberg. There's some stuff here in this comment that I didn't even know up until today. And I can confidently say that you will not know at least one thing I mention in this video, because the amount of obscure things in this iceberg compared to the first one is just laughable. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's actually get into the video. You might have noticed that the first 2 layers were skipped, and that's mainly because it's kind of useless to say stuff everybody knows, so I'm going to be skipping the first 2 layers because the interesting stuff is the stuff I like to look at. In Final Hazard, David Humphrey, the voice actor of Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2, wasn't actually available to record his lines, so Ryan Drummond just took over to voice Shadow instead. Sometimes it's noticeable, but other time it's not.
He's still very powerful. What kind of monster is this? The red swelling may be a weak spot. Sonic, aim for it!
This comes from the moment in the Dark story where Rouge was told he has 15 minutes to leave the exploding island, but instead takes 5. People just assume that this was either a typo, or Rouge just took 5 minutes to find the emeralds, and the other 10 to leave the island. Players who bought Phantasy Star Online around 6 months before Sonic Adventure 2's release would also gain a demo of Sonic Adventure 2 known as Sonic Adventure 2 The Trial. In the HD versions of Sonic Adventure 2, there's a little 6-minute bonus video with Izuka and Hoshino talking about the development of Sonic Adventure 2. In the stage, Death Chamber, the level takes place in Eggman's Pyramid. Within Death Chamber, you can find this machine right here in the central area called E01. People assume that this is either a nuclear reactor or a prototype of the E-series. You can find the name of this printed throughout the level, which should show that E01 has some importance. Within Eggman's base, you can find hundreds of Gammas from Sonic Adventure 1 being spread across the levels. This makes sense when you consider Gamma proves that he's the superior E-series robot at the end of Sonic Adventure 1, and Eggman capitalizes off that. This one, however, is a more cheaper and simplified version of Gamma, known as E1000, so it can be mass-produced. Now we are below the surface. This is pretty much the surface, but like, below it. Yeah, that joke sucked. It is theorized that Rouge was originally going to have the Air Necklace, similar to Knuckles. If anything, it would actually fit Rouge better. It's literally a necklace and spy equipment. Considering Rouge is a jewelry thief, it would make a lot more sense that Rouge would have the necklace. Grind Race is a minigame only found in the 2-player version of Sonic Adventure 2. What makes this level stand out so much is this weird glitch that allows you to run up an invisible wall, and also this random third rail that could possibly be a leftover of a scrapped Shadow level. There are actually secret character themes that you can unlock in the battle version, such as an Amy, Omochao, Maria, and even a goddamn secretary theme. I'll leave guides on how to unlock each of them in the description. In the GameCube version of Sonic Adventure 2, the developers completely forgot to port the Big Cat cameos into the game. And it's kinda sad when you think about it. Big went from a playable character, then a cameo, and then nothing. In Sonic Adventure 2, there is an entire place where Omochao will teach you how the game works in detail, which is pretty cool. However, in the HD version, it got replaced with a manual. What the hell, Sega? Why would you expect me to read? Reading is so old. It died in like 2012. Oh. This refers to the unused character life icons of the playable characters that are specific to the 2-player mode. The reason why these are unused is because the 2-player mode doesn't show you your life count. Throughout almost every single level, you can discover invisible enemies that only appear when you're right in front of them, but then go away after a few seconds. These are called gold beetles. They don't do anything other than just stare at you, but they do give you a whopping 1,000 points when you do defeat them. There's quite a bit of unused tracks and carts for the kart racing mode. To add on to that, there is no way to unlock the karts from Route 101 and Route 280. There's also a lot of kart racing things that were planned for the VMU downloads, but were never released for the Dreamcast players. However, some of them are available in the GameCube release. Despite Skyrail being a stage for specifically Shadow, there are some items in the ground that you can obtain by digging with the treasure hunting character. Skyrail is the only non-hunting stage that has this feature. This is because Skyrail uses the same dirt as Pumpkin Hill, so you can dig and get items from it. By playing as Root in the hero Shao Garden, by attaching yourself to this dome and then moving yourself around, you will activate a glitch that distorts Root's eye, and it's kinda disturbing at first. Another eye glitch happens in this scene right here. Did you catch it? If you pause here and zoom in, you can notice that Amy's pupils are both on one side of her eye. In Virtua Striker 3 for the GameCube, by pressing the start button on Sweden, Morocco, Denmark, Spain, and then France, which just so happens to spell out the word Sonic, you will be granted the ability to play as Team Sonic, which features the same models as the ones used in Sonic Adventure 2 with some slight alterations. In the 2-player mode, you can compete against somebody else in the 1-player stages. However, some levels are actually missing. Examples of this would be Prison Lane, Pyramid Cave, The Crazy Gadget, Cannon's Core, and The Green Hill. This refers to one of the possible Shao you can create by breeding a Pacific Shiny Shao and a Dual Shao. Yeah, I have no idea how that works or where that logic comes from. Shao is really confusing. It is possible to find the voice files that never gets used in the final game. Surprisingly, a majority of these unused lines adds to the plot and explains a bunch of things. But on the other hand, there's the dialogue that is really dark and definitely not suitable for kids. This refers to the early renders for Sonic Adventure 2 that had really strange models and poses. This refers to the theory of Gun was fully aware that Sonic wasn't Shadow. In the game's continuity, it confirms that Gun was chasing down Sonic and Shadow at the same time. The reason why Gun would chase both of these down simultaneously is to capture Shadow for themselves and capture Sonic for the public. As we all know, Project Shadow was a government experiment to discover immortality. Immortality is a great power, so it makes sense why Gun would try to hide away Shadow's existence by purposely framing Sonic for stealing the emerald. This refers to at one point during development, it was decided that Sonic Adventure 2 planned to be the last ever chronological Sonic game in the Sonic series. Some lines at the end of the story imply that this would be the final game. Even in the Hero Story trailer, the narrator says,
"Farewell, Sonic. Forever."
If you think about it, the entire game has a series finale sense to it. This was mainly because Sega was at a point where they were pretty much making no money at all and had an uncertain future for themselves. Thankfully, Sonic is still here with us. I mean, imagine if we were living in an alternate timeline where Sonic Team wasn't making Sonic games. Wait a sec, this refers to the glitch that is achieved by spin dashing, immediately bouncing, and then colliding with a wall. When you do this, Sonic will go up at insanely high heights, which can be pretty useful if you want to skip something. Now we are entering the portion of the iceberg where everything is really obscure or dark. Egg beetles are indestructible enemies that patrol Eggman's pyramid. If they see you, you will trigger a loud alarm that causes them to fly towards you. When they are close enough, they will shoot several different unavoidable lasers. What makes them stand out so much is the fact that these guys aren't in any other stage. In every single stage of Sonic Adventure 2 story mode, there's exactly 3 shell containers, except for one level, and that is Hidden Base. Instead of 3 shell containers, there's 2. In the 2-player mode, there are some leftover areas and objects out of bounds that you can't access normally. A great example of this would be Cosmic Wall, where you can find leftovers of the 1-player version. Surprisingly, the moon wasn't the only thing that got screwed in the game. Believe it or not, but the Earth in Sonic Adventure 2 is sideways. The photo of Sonic Adventure 2's Earth comes from a real-life photo took in 1972 called the Blue Marble. However, the pieces only come together if you rotate the original image. Using this knowledge and based off the rotation of the Earth in Sonic Adventure 2 compared to real life, we can confidently conclude that the Earth in Sonic Adventure 2 is sideways. In some of the 2-player stages, if you go far enough, you can find a flying phoenix and another flying penguin. And if you kind of think about it, based off of what was said about the Earth, Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of real. So if you're watching this at home and you own a penguin, then throw that thing out the window and see if it flies. Actually, no, don't do that. Due to the existence of a hero Shao Garden, a neutral Shao Garden, and a dark Shao Garden, players believe that there was once a fourth Shao Garden in the game. This could have been a Chaos Garden or an Energy Garden, surrounding the rumor of Energy Shao. There is a bunch of things that show that Tails, Rouge, and Shadow wasn't playable at one point. For example, in the early E3 trailers, Tails and Rouge is nowhere to be seen, even though they play a major role in the story. You can also notice that there is no gameplay of Shadow, and Sonic is in Sky Rail, a Shadow stage, meaning that Rouge, Shadow, and Tails wasn't originally playable. Again, in the E3 trailers, it only shows gameplay of Sonic, Knuckles, and Eggman, so the fact that Rouge and Shadow and Tails were added in later development could explain why their gameplays are copies of their parallels. This refers to the mechanic in the second Sonic vs. Shadow fight. Basically, once the timer passes the 10-minute mark, the road ahead will start collapsing and you'll eventually die. This is pretty low in the Iceberg mainly because 1. In the previous cutscene it states that there's 5 minutes before the cannon fires, even though nothing happens, and 2. Nobody's gonna take 10 minutes just to beat this boss. Now we have hit the bottom. This is the Abyss, the last layer. This refers to the rings that are impossible to obtain normally without dying or using a lightning shield. It's hard to notice, but there's actually a ton of these rings. Radical Highway, Green Hill, Hidden Base, White Jungle, you get the idea. Using the action replay device, you can get Omo Shao into your Shao Garden. Omo Shao will act the same way as a normal Shao, but the strange thing about Omo Shao is that he will permanently replace your first Shao. A couple of ideas, such as the path system, was going to be in Sonic Adventure 2, but later got scrapped and was reused in Shadow the Hedgehog. Apparently, a stage that's similar to a digital circuit was proposed for Sonic Adventure 2 as well. Proto Blaze refers to the alleged original concept of a new character being from another dimension that were destroying the world. This idea gets reused with Blaze in their Sonic Rush series. That's why it's called Proto Blaze, as in a prototype of Blaze's concept. And the Shao Garden, a scrapped item, was a Shao pacifier. It's not in the final game, but you can re-enable this feature through hacking. However, when you use this pacifier on an actual Shao, it will instead make the Shao's head vanish. Now this could be a form of encouraging decapitation. Okay, yeah, no, it's definitely not. This refers to the song that plays in Mad Space. At the very end of the song, you can faintly hear the strange and disturbing sound of a man laughing. Did you hear it? Here, I'll do it again, except louder. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. Somewhat alarming too. It makes you wonder who made that sound and who put it in there. By far, one of the most scariest scenes out of any Sonic game is right here. Gerald's Robotnik is locked in metal chains as he talks about his vicious plans to inevitably destroy humanity. If you listen closely to his voice, he sounds like he's going insane. The video cuts off as the gun officer in the background says the word ready, which means that this video was likely Gerald's last moments before his execution. In his diary, he states that he was hopeless, went insane, and wanted to kill himself. There you have it. That is just about everything I missed in the Sonic Adventure 2 Iceberg. At this point, you've watched just about 30 minutes of Sonic Adventure 2 topics. That's kinda crazy. Once again, massive thanks to Water Kirby 1994 for putting a bunch of things out. Hopefully, this is the last time I have to do an Iceberg about this absurd game that has a lot of things hidden behind it. Again, if I missed anything, please comment it, and I'll instead add it to the description. Also, please subscribe. Only 4% of you guys are, and if you subscribe, it lets me know that you guys actually like these videos I'm making. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. While I was making this video, another Sonic Adventure 2 Iceberg was posted that had the same stuff I had, better stuff than I had, and did a better job on explaining things. So this entire video was just a big waste!